everyone. Welcome to this episode of Bring Pretty Back with Kristin. I am with Deborah St Hilaire, and we're going to be talking about ways to ask for help when you need it, when you are so low that you have absolutely, positively nothing, and where you go from there. Because Deb has been there, and I got a message this week from a lady that said that she was so low that she couldn't get out of bed. She had lost her job. She had lost everything. And she literally had no food. Like said that the only thing she had in the house to eat were a few frozen green beans and some dog food. You heard me. Dog food. She thought she was going to have to eat dog food because she had nothing. I said, okay. First thing, get up, get out of bed, get in the shower and comb your hair. Let's start there, because it'd been a while since she'd done that. Then I sent her over, because she's not in my state. Otherwise, I'd have ran food over to her, but she's not near me. And I sent her over some links to some food pantries because she needed food. I mean, no food. So that was a start, but she was so low that she couldn't even think. She was so low she couldn't even think of how to start fixing this. So you know what? I was so honored. I was so honored and that she reached out to me, because that took a lot of courage to ask someone for help. That took a lot of courage for someone to say, hey, I have nothing, and this is what I'm going to have to do. And it got worse, because then she was telling me that, she had considered becoming an escort, because that was something she could do for money. And then heartbreakingly said that she didn't care what happened to her. It didn't matter to her it didn't matter to her what happened to her. It didn't matter if she was injured. It didn't matter if she was killed. It didn't matter. She felt as though she had that little value, that it didn't matter what happened to her. And there are people out there struggling with this, and we need to be there for them. And you never know. It could be you. It could be you. Never say never. Never say never that whatever that is couldn't happen to you, because you know what? None of us are immune to anything. And my guest today is Deb St Hilaire, and she's been there. She's been this low, and I just found out about it. Deb and I have been friends for a couple of years, and I didn't know about this until today. And you know what? We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about her story, and we're going to talk about what she did to get out of where she was. And I'm so proud of her, and I'm so proud of her that she is going to share her story with us today, because it takes a lot of courage to do so. So I would like to welcome Deb St Hilaire.
Hi,
Deb.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your radio show that I was just on.
Well, the show that we just did is called Diva Dialogue. It's on Mondays at noon.
And I'll send the link. I'll post the link.
Good. And it's a fun show. And one of the reasons I do this, W4Divas.com, it's a radio network for women, is so that you don't feel that you're alone. That's one of my purposes, that something that somebody might say may help lift you, get you out of whatever you're going through, because you're never alone.
And you don't know. And here, we're going to go in. We're going to go in close. We're going in.
We're going in.
Also, you don't know what someone's going through. You don't know. And Deb just told me that she was that low where she didn't have food. She didn't have anything. And I didn't know you at the time, so.
Right. I had a lot of clothes.
A lot of clothes.
Yes.
A lot of clothes that didn't fit you.
No, they were big. That's right.
They were big.
Yeah.
But she had the well, she could tell her story, but where things went wrong for her, where things started going downhill, was when the real estate and everything kind of, went to hell. That's when things started going to hell for Deb. So
and it's funny, because I saw it coming in 2008. I was a realtor for 15 years, and I did great. I mean, I did great.
I bet you would.
And a person that I hired to do my books and keep track of my money, and I paid myself every month. Stole a lot of money from me.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
nice.
That's when it started.
That's when it
So I found that out, and my son was in culinary school in Chicago, and so I was paying those bills as well. And then I got a tax bill, an income tax bill, that my taxes hadn't been paid in, I forget, like 2 years, and it was the same amount of time that person had been taking care of my money. So
they were taking care of it nicely.
They were taking care of themselves with
They
it,
were.
is what it boiled down to. So those things happened, and I was managing a very upscale real estate company at the time, and I had hired a new front desk person who I thought liked me but didn't. So everything happened at
It was
once.
a snowball.
The
It was
real
a bad
estate
snowball.
market crashed. I found out that I was missing close to $67,000.
Oh boy.
And I had nothing coming in to replace it.
And then, so that was the beginning of that part of your life. That was the beginning of the end.
That was the beginning, yes, of the end,
That's when Deb was telling me that she didn't tell people. She was embarrassed. She was embarrassed to tell people. How.
I kept telling myself that it wouldn't stay like this.
Okay. You thought you could pull out of it. You thought you could pull out of it easily, and you couldn't.
Yeah. When I first found out the money was missing, well, it's money. No, and I was pretty devastated.
Of course, but it's money.
I thought it was money. I could make it. I'd made that over and over and over again.
Yes, you'll make it again.
Right.
No,
right.
That makes sense. You're right. So then you start going. Then she got to where Deb was telling me that she got to where she couldn't even get out of bed. She couldn't get out of bed. Then she didn't have food. Then it was just down. But then she didn't want to tell people because she was the person that everyone counted on. So she didn't want to be the person that counted on someone else because she was the person that everybody went to, right? And that's where can we say don't do that? You tell them.
So, and it was more than being embarrassed, though. It was shock and dismay. Sure. It was pain because I had not one person that I trusted do bad things, but 4.
Okay.
And it was like wham, wham, wham. And I felt like an idiot because I trusted these people. And so who was I to trust?
Yeah.
It was to that point. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? But here's where it gets exciting. Here's where it gets exciting. Is she started trusting herself.
Yeah.
That's where things get exciting, is when you knew you had it in you to fix it.
Yeah.
You knew. It was a bit of a time.
Yeah. And a lot of bubble baths.
That's what we were talking about earlier. Like, what do you do? What do you do when things get, when things are, me, it's ice cream and bubble baths, and I'm not going to lie, sometimes at the same time. Sometimes at the same time. But, you can't stay there. You can't stay in bed. You can't stay in the bubble bath. You can't stay there. You have to get out of it, because if you don't get out of it, no one, you have to help yourself.
Right. And you have to accept help from other people. And unless you start helping yourself, you can't accept help from other people.
You have to get to that point where you have to ask, because when you get that low, you can't help yourself.
There's only 2 ways to go.
There's only 2 ways to go. There really is. And unfortunately, there really is. When you get, and we don't think, sometimes even myself, that you think that you won't get that low. You know what? Never say never.
Right.
Never say never.
Well,
to
I
anything.
never thought that would happen to me.
No.
In a million years. So, I told you earlier I had to choose between gas and electric. And I chose electric because I had a little electric heater that I could put in my room, and it wasn't that cold out anymore.
Good.
And I had an electric stove, and I knew I could heat up water on it to have a bath, and that was my self-soother. And I'd go in there and just cry. Like to the point of...
the ugly cry. You're going right into the ugly cry. I've done that, and if I've not been home alone, the towel to the face.
Yeah.
And the sobbing.
Luckily, my one boy was already gone. The other one was at school in Chicago.
Okay, so they didn't have to witness. You could sob openly. You could sob openly in the house. But I give you so much credit because you knew you had to get out of it, and you did. What was the first thing you did to get out of this place?
I looked for a job.
Okay.
After being in, in real estate, you work for yourself.
Yes.
And I kept doing real estate, but there was no money coming in, just money going out in advertising. I couldn't stop that.
Couldn't do it.
And I looked for a job, and a friend of mine said, come talk to me, and let's see what we can do.
So you took the first step. That was the first thing you did was get a job. What was the second thing?
I took the job, and I made myself, and I hated it.
You hated the job.
I don't even want to tell you what it was.
Okay, you don't have to.
But it was something that I never thought I would do.
Okay.
And it wasn't an escort, though.
It wasn't.
But I absolutely hated it, and it went against
everything.
I'm used to being honest and upfront. And that's how real estate is. Mm-hmm. Yes. You have to disclose everything, and it was another sales job.
Okay.
But it was not something where you had to disclose everything and be honest.
Okay.
So let you guess what it was.
Okay. Well.
But I met a lot of really good people there.
But you had to do what you had to do to survive.
Mm-hmm.
We have to do. That's the thing is, there's another thing. You know what? Don't judge. Don't be judging. Don't be judging anybody because you don't know where you will be or you could be. You don't judge. Don't judge anybody of what someone else has to do. And that is huge because you know what? You don't know what someone has had to do to be and where they are. You don't know. You don't have a clue. So don't judge because you don't be so.
That's
you don't
true.
Be
They
judging
may not be there because they want to be.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! They may not exactly. They may be doing something that it's literally for survival. It's for survival. So don't ever judge what anybody is doing. We don't have that right. We don't have the right. But when you get there, as I said, it's kind of like with my pretty Rosie the turtle. She represents everything in Bring Pretty Back because the first thing to do is take that little baby first turtle step, and because you don't get that low and then sprint. It doesn't work like that. When you're that low, it's really, really, you don't know what someone's going through. And you know what? It's one step. When you reached out to your friend and said that you needed a job, Deb also had to reach out because she had no food. She had to reach out to friends and tell them about that.
Well, we used to entertain quite frequently, and once Mike left, that's my chef's son, I didn't as much as I used to, but still I was used to having friends over, and they started seeing that I wasn't having them over.
Okay. So
they came over. A couple of them came over one day and opened the refrigerator, and there was nothing in there. And my refrigerator was always full.
And there was nothing there.
What is going on, they said. And we sat down in the living room, and I cried, and they cried, and all of them came together and helped me.
Of course they did. All you had to do was ask. All you had to do was ask, and you didn't ask. So ask. If you need help, ask for it. Just ask. So Deb's getting a little emotional over here, and I'm getting a little emotional. So, okay, we're going to compose ourselves. Ask. And then I'll talk for you. I know they started bringing over soup. They started bringing over food. They put things in her fridge. They put things in her freezer, and they took care of her as she had taken care of so many of others. She took care of so many others that they started taking care of her. And how wonderful is that? So, all you have to do is ask. Ask someone. And
they were happy to do it.
They were happy to, as you would have been happy for them. You would have taken over some macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Or maybe a soup for a freezer. So, okay. So we're going to compose ourselves here. And, but that's the thing is ask. Just ask someone. They will help you. And there's no shame in asking. And that's what friends are for. That's what family is for. That's what human beings are for. That's what human beings are for, is to, people outside the window. So anyway, ask for help if you are in that position. So the first thing to do is ask for help. The second thing to do is start moving forward and save yourself, even if it's one little turtle step at a time. Just one little turtle step at a time will make all the difference. It will change your life, and you can. If you're going through something, you know what? You don't have to stay there. Look at Deb. She has a successful business. She is a coach. She has her own radio show. She helps women. You wouldn't even believe the things that she does for women, and it is her passion because she's been there. She has been there, and I've been so low that I didn't want to get out of bed. I know what it's like to not want to wake up in the morning and open my eyes because I'm so low and so depressed. And you know what? I now, if I need to, I will say, you know what? I need some help today. I'm low today. And I have this little. There's a little saying that I have. It says, I need you to love me a little louder today, because some days you just need someone to love you a little bit louder on that day when you're feeling low, and they're there for you. That's what friends are for. That's what we're all here. We're all in this together, and most people do want to help, and you don't know what someone's going through. So, if you are in any of these situations, reach out and ask for help. People will help you. And I'm so honored that the woman asked me, told me what she was going through, and I took that as a great honor. And I really want to thank Deb so much for sharing her story, because that's very personal. It's a very, very personal thing that she didn't need to share. And I really thank you. I thank you so much for being back on. I thank you so much for sharing your story, because that takes a lot of courage.
Thank you. And that's why it's so important to me that everybody knows that they're not alone. Mm-hmm. That we are here to help each other.
We're all in this together. We are, and you and I, we are both so passionate about this, about helping women and being there for women, and we can't stop ourselves.
And it's so much more than just being there for you. I mean, you can learn coping skills. You can learn how to survive on less than you ever have before.
You can go through more than you ever thought you could.
And you can rise above it.
And rise above it.
And be a better, stronger person. And one of my sayings, and I say it to myself all the time, is give purpose to your pain.
Yep. And you are. I mean, you have your studio, you have your beautiful studio here, and your radio shows, and thank you so much for having me on today. It means so much to me. And, just sharing what you share to women makes a difference.
Good.
It makes a difference. It really does. So thank you so much for taking the time on this episode of Bring Pretty Back with Kristin, with Deb St Hilaire. I appreciate her so much. And where can we find you, Deb?
W4divas.com. That's number 4. And on Facebook, W4Divas, The Devolution. And come on down to the studio. It's on the corner of 3rd and Washington. I'm a life coach. And I'm rebranding my life coaching.
Oh, good. We'll talk about that.
Right.
We'll talk about that after, and then we'll do another show on it.
Okay, cool.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love it.
So thanks. And remember, you're not alone. And whatever you're going through, there's people to help you.
There are. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. I know the show was a little bit longer. Thank you so much for taking the time with me on this episode. I appreciate it so much. Go out, do something for yourself today to get above, rise what you need, and also look around and see if there's someone that needs your help. I may be doing many more shows on this topic, many more shows. Thank you so much. Go out and have a pretty day.